It's the Channel Mom Show with Jenny Dean Schmidt. We're here for you.
The new year is going to look beautiful on you. How about an age-defying facial with the new antioxidant serum from Lemongrass Spa, where you can have the spa treatment without the spa price tag. Just shop lemongrassspa.com.
I really think we're going to have a great conversation for the next 40 minutes, and I hope that it will be a blessing to you because Jill Savage has some things to say that I think very few people are saying, and I think so many moms need to hear it. Now, do you think that moms make other moms feel imperfect or even bad about themselves? Do you feel that pressure to be the perfect mom, even though you're not? This is why Jill Savage is here. She has written a new book called No More Perfect Moms, Learn to Love Your Real Life. Jill also happens to be the founder and executive director of Hearts at Home, an organization committed to helping moms love their life. I went to one of their conventions recently. So inspiring, so uplifting, making you feel so good about being a mom, whether you're imperfect or not. Jill's a sought-after speaker. She also has written a number of other books, including Professionalizing Motherhood, which is also a great book. Jill happens to have 5 children with her husband, Mark, so that's a wonderful thing. Welcome to the Channel Mom Show, Jill.
Well, thank you, Jen. It's good to be with you.
Yeah, it is good. So good to see you. And I do want to plug the Hearts at Home conference. Can you tell people, do you have any openings for your upcoming one?
We do. We have a conference coming up in Normal, Illinois. Literally, women come from all over the United States to attend it, and that is March 15th and 16th. And registration is still open. We've filled about half of the spots available for the conference, so we really think it will sell out, but it's still open. Women can find out information about our mom conferences at heartsathome.org.
Good, and I hope people will. Jill, you were so kind to have me as a guest at your last one in Minnesota, and what a blessing. I mean, just walk around there on air. I mean, you know what I mean? Because everyone is being uplifted and feels, this is their one time where they can feel like everything's okay and they're doing a good job and they're getting great tips about how to even do a better job. So what a wonderful conference, and I hope people consider going. And we're still, just Shelley and I have talked about going as well.
Oh, that would be great. Well, this year's events, we're really excited. One of our keynote speakers is Candace Cameron Bure now, but we know her as DJ on Full House.
Yes.
Most of us probably grew up with her. And then our Mom's Night Out guest is Anita Renfro.
Funny.
Fabulous mom comedian.
Yeah.
And so we just, our theme this year goes along with the theme of my new book, which is No More Perfect Moms. So we're going to really explore this concept and embrace authenticity. And that's what we plan to do at the 2013 Hearts at Home conferences this year. So there'll be a conference in Illinois in March, and then we'll have another one in Minnesota in November. So if you go to heartsathome.org, you can find out the information about both events.
Good, and I urge every mom out there to go. Now, tell people why you wrote this book. I mean, I remember I was even taken aback a bit when one of the people that works for you, Jennifer, told me about it. I thought, okay, what does that mean? But then, you know what I mean? But then when I started reading it, I thought, oh my goodness, I know what it means now. And every mom out there would be benefited to hear this message. So tell me why you wrote it.
Well, No More Perfect Moms really came out of my own personal journey of really realizing that too often I was trying to be the perfect mom, and I was falling off the pedestal of my own expectations. And then I was consistently disappointed because I was looking for perfection in me. I was looking for perfection in my husband. I was looking for perfection in my children. So then I was being critical or demanding to find that perfection, and that wasn't healthy for me. It wasn't healthy for my marriage. It wasn't healthy for my family. And so it really came down to really being able to love my real life, my real husband, my real children, and to adjust my expectations to better match with reality.
Yeah.
And that's really the core of what No More Perfect Moms is all about. The subtitle is Learn to Love Your Real Life and how to be okay, even when life is hard, even when our circumstances are difficult. How can we truly say, it's not well with my circumstances, but it's well with my soul? it's well with what's going on the inside of me.
Yeah, and that's huge. And before we get to the more serious discussion of that, because it's big, and you talk about masks, and you talk about how we compare and how we see another mom and we think we fall short. I'm going to have a quote I'm going to read from the book, which was just dead on. I mean, it's exactly what we've all thought as mothers. So I'm going to read that in a minute. But before we get to the more serious part of this, tell people the story that you share at the beginning of the book that made you just finally say, yeah, I'm pretty much imperfect.
Well, yeah, I open up the book with this story about I was in the middle of making dinner and helping kids with homework and all kinds of things, and the phone rang, and it was a voice on the other end of the line was in tears, and all I heard was, "Mom, did you forget me?" And I was like, wait a minute. And I start counting noses,
Yeah.
I only have 5 kids.
Right.
So,
that's right.
I mean, I didn't have that many noses to count. I wasn't like a Michelle Duggar at
right.
19.
Yeah, right. Come on, what's your problem,
so
Joe?
I count noses, and I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, my goodness. I completely forgot to pick her up from basketball practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how I start the book, just laying it out there.
And how did you feel?
We all make mistakes. How did I feel? I felt like I was 2 inches tall.
Yeah.
And I beat myself up. How can I do that? How can a mother do this and, forget her children? But the reality is we're human. And human beings are not perfect, and we make mistakes, and we have to be okay with that. And we have to learn how to give ourselves grace and give others grace. In other words, to give ourselves the space to make mistakes and to be okay with that. And so I would handle a situation like that now a lot differently than I did back then.
Yeah.
I spent way too much time beating myself up over that.
And I think...
Now, I'd feel bad. I'd apologize. I mean, and I did. Even in that situation, I apologized and asked for forgiveness. But I would probably move through it a little bit quicker because I just really have an understanding that I will make mistakes, and I have to be okay with that.
Yeah, and I want every mom out there to get that today, because I do think moms beat themselves up, and then it's not good for the family, because then they feel bad about themselves, and then they act bad, and then it just spirals out of control. I'm going to read a quote from the book, No More Perfect Moms, How to Love or Learn to Love Your Real Life. And here it is. This is what Jill says. Kids don't sleep much, and too often I found myself beyond weary. Mine didn't potty train as quickly as other kids at the same age. And as my teens grew older and began to have minds of their own, they were often quite sure they knew more than I did. I'm less patient than I ought to be. I weigh more than I want. My children are more strong-willed than I expected. My house seems to always be a mess. At times, my marriage isn't the happily ever after I dreamed it would be. Inside, I begin to think thoughts like, I don't measure up. I'm failing as a mom. My kids don't act like her kids. My house doesn't look like her house. My body doesn't look like her body. My husband doesn't help like her husband does. What is wrong with me? Do you think that's like a universal conversation women have inside their heads?
Oh, my goodness. Absolutely. I know it is. I have been encouraging moms for over 20 years, and I have had so many conversations with so many moms about this, and that's why I decided it was time for us to put this out on the table and discuss it and give ourselves the ability to know what to do with it.
Yeah, you have a quote where you say, someone once told you, never compare your insides with someone else's outsides. And that's profound. So tell moms how they can stop doing that.
Well, I think it's really important to realize that we do this all the time. We know about our messy life. We know about the fact that our marriage isn't what we want it to be, or the fact that we have a problem child, a child that just seems to always be challenging us. And then we see this mom, and maybe she's in the grocery store. Maybe she's at church. Maybe she is simply sits next to you at the mom's group. But we look at her and we go, I bet her marriage is in a mess.
Yeah.
And we see her child, and their child is doing very well. And, in this particular moment that we're seeing them, they're behaving. And, I bet she never yells at her kids. So what's happening is we're comparing our insides to the mask that mom has on. We're comparing our insides to the fact that we don't even know what is going on the inside of her, but we don't even realize we are comparing unfairly. We are not seeing. It would be different if we were comparing insides to insides, because then we would get honest with each other, and we would really find out that honestly, we all struggle with the same stuff. Now, not everybody has a bad marriage or has a difficult marriage, but we have difficult seasons in our marriage. All of us do, because feelings of love ebb and flow, and that is normal. Yeah. So we have to realize that if we're going to compare, which I wish we could just say, let's never compare. From this point on, we're drawing a stake in the ground and saying we're not going to compare. I wish we could do that, but we can't.
Nope.
So let's compare insides to insides. Let's take off our masks and get honest with each other.
Yeah, about hurting and about the things that we're going through. You shared some stuff with me at the convention I had no idea you'd gone through, and that you'd had some tough times in your marriage and so on. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is good for me to know that she's standing up there on the stage and at the podium encouraging moms, but she's got problems that make her able to understand those moms.
Right. And it was a really, it was a difficult, I am a public figure. I have well over 5,000 women that follow my blog. I have, I stand in front of crowds of 6,000 to 10,000 women at the Hearts at Home conferences. And I really did face a difficult decision when we went through that tough season in my marriage. Yeah. What do I do? Do I just keep on okay, here I am on my blog. They don't see me, so I can just keep on, pretending like everything is okay. Is that what I need to do, or do I just need to put it out there? And it had gotten so bad in our marriage that my husband had left. So it was like, what do I do with that? And I really prayed about it, and I sorted through it, and I went, no, I am going to be honest. And I braced myself for the judgment. I braced myself for the flaming arrows, because I have talked often about the importance of taking care of your marriage and all of those things. And so then here, look, in my imperfect life, this is what's happening. And I finally pushed through the fear, and I'll tell you, I had to really push through the fear, and decided to put it on my blog. And I braced myself. Yeah. And I was amazed. I didn't lose one blog subscriber, and the outpouring of grace and encouragement, and the outpouring of hurting hearts who were also having difficulties in their marriage absolutely floored me over.
I think sometimes that God humbles us in our very area of strength so that we can be a blessing to other people who have fallen in that same area. You know the story in the Bible where Jesus talks about, why was he blind? Was it because of something his parents did and so on? And it was basically so that he could glorify God, so he could be a blessing to other people. That's why he was lacking, so that he could help other people. And I sometimes think that we want so badly to be perfect, and we can't be. If I pretended I was perfect on this show, I could be a help to nobody, because they wouldn't think I understood. And I'm certainly imperfect. I certainly am. We've got about a minute 30 left, so I'm just going to plug the fact that you're giving away a book. And will you be back with us here in a couple minutes, Jill, please?
Sure, would love to.
Okay. Win your copy of No More Perfect Moms, Jill Savage. Please call 303-297-1510 to get your copy. I know there's a mom out there today that thinks, I could use it. It'll make me feel better. And she gives you application tools to get over the bad attitudes you have about yourself or maybe your family or your children. She really, really helps you. I've been reading through it. It's a great book. So please call in. Stay tuned. We're going to get to some other things that Jill has to say about this and how we compare each other and how we judge each other as moms and how to stop each other from hurting one another, and probably some dads too. So stay tuned for the Channel Mom Show coming up in a couple minutes.